Hello and welcome to the Mental Wealth channel. Thank you for choosing to open this video made for you. If you or anybody you know is struggling with a mental health challenge, this is the space for you. Today, we're going to talk about distorted or unhelpful thinking, also known as cognitive distortions. This cognitive distortion is 1 out of 8 and it's called mental filter. In this video, I'm going to explain what it is. We're going to do a written exercise. And if you stay until the end, I'm going to tell you all about the antidotes to tackle this mental filter through the core. So let's get to it. Let's think about it. What goes through our brain before a depressive or anxious episode or any type of unhelpful emotion? Thoughts which trigger emotions, which trigger more thoughts and more emotions.
And more thoughts and then more emotions.
Now we're in a fast and furious rocket ship to Tish land. So these unhelpful thoughts are an automatic habit, a distress creating habit. So one of these habits is mental filter.
Woo!
Self-explanatory, we filter in some information and we filter out some information. And this comes from a good-hearted place. You understand, we want to focus on what's important. So we place importance in this unhelpful filter. Maybe there is a protective part of ourselves that wants to tunnel vision the negative, to have control over pushing away or running away from a threat as a trauma response. So with the practice of applying antidotes when we notice that we are mental filtering in combination with therapy to understand where these protective parts are really coming from, because it's usually not from the situation, and sometimes it is, but when we're struggling with BPD or bipolar or depression or anxiety, sometimes the actual situation is not where the threat is coming from. So when we apply the antidote combined with therapy, we can understand where these responses come from. When we notice we're doing it, we can add in more details about the situation. We can also remember our acronym HALT. Am I hungry, angry, lonely, tired? If one of these is in play, we can also remember, if we take care of that, being hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, our mental filter might change. Now, the first thing we need to do when we start practicing this is just noticing. And how can we notice in real time? Well, first, we have to have that experience, realize that we did it, and think about last week. Oh my goodness, I was mental filtering last week. That's what that was. And remember our past experiences. After noticing for a little bit that it had happened in the past, then in the moment, we will notice it. Oh my goodness, I am mental filtering right now. And ideally, we will notice it and apply the antidotes and just observe and let it pass and add in more details and regulate ourselves. But that takes practice. So sometimes even if we notice it in the moment, because our emotions are felt strongly, we won't be able to apply the antidotes. But over time, once we notice it in the present moment and we have the wish and we've applied the practice, we will be able to do that. That will come up more naturally. So don't worry if you didn't notice it and you notice it in the past, that's progress. Don't worry if you notice it in the present and you didn't do anything, that's progress. The fact that we are here right now learning about this, that's progress. And recovery, like I've mentioned in the past, it is not a linear journey. It has ebbs and flows, and we are not meant to do things perfectly. So if we don't, we can just pick up where we left off and move forward with what we've learned. For example, yes, somebody ignored me at the party. That's fine. It's okay to not be happy with that. But sometimes that's all we focus about. everybody commented, everybody liked, but there was that one comment, and then that's what filters in my head. So what we learn to practice how to work with mental filters is really focusing whenever we notice, oh, that comment was negative, that's my cue. Let me think about this, and the other positive comment. When I start feeling triggered, oh, that person ignored me, that person that I really liked at the party just pretended I wasn't there. Cue, this, and this other person were really nice to me. And so we start practicing using our triggers as cues to apply the antidotes. Dismissing compliments, it's part of a mental filter. So now let's do our written practice. Open up your journal. When you notice the situation that you would like to practice with, open up your journal, briefly describe the situation, think about what thoughts came to mind during the situation. Next, write down what feelings came up from the thoughts about that situation. This will give us a clear picture of our thinking patterns, and they start becoming more conscious now. It's no longer just something that happens, but now with our journal, we can see, oh my goodness, from this situation, these thoughts came up and I had this feeling experience. So now we're learning about how our mind works. And that is the practice in itself. So when we catch the moment that we were mental filtering, we are going to apply the antidotes. We're going to look for missing information about the situation, maybe things that I've been filtering out. We are going to look for good moments or good qualities of the moment. We're going to look for good people or people that made us feel good in that situation. The scenery, maybe something about the scenery was positive. Maybe if it was all just totally chaotic and there was nothing that I can say that was good about the situation, coming back to yourself. And we practice gratitude for being able to see, hear, touch, smell, taste, to have a roof over our head, to have food on the table, to have a phone to communicate, to have beautiful music that we can listen to. So we go back to gratitude. If there was absolutely nothing good about the situation. But usually, when we look for things that are positive about something, we will find them. Just like, because we want to protect ourselves from past experiences, we want to find the negative about the situation. And like I said, this comes from a good-hearted place. But we are not looking at the whole picture, and that is okay. Our past experiences made us this way. They created this habit that has kept us alive until today. So now we're going to learn something new, and we're going to add the positive things and focus on the positive things about that experience that caused us to mental filter. The next antidote is to think, what would you tell your friend about this situation if you would like your friend to feel good about it? I'm a personal believer that a friend would like validation of the emotions, understanding, support in the way they're feeling, and also somebody that can show them beautiful things about themselves. You know what I'm saying? So what would you tell a friend? You would validate a friend, you would be compassionate with a friend, you would support a friend, and you would also encourage your friend to find the beauty in life, to find the beauty in every situation. And finally, we're going to find alternative interpretations. So from this event, these thoughts came up, these feelings came up. What is an alternative interpretation of the event? And this one is hard because we want to really go with what we are thinking. And that is so beautiful because we want to feel good and we want to protect ourselves and we want to be right. I don't really like using that word, but we want to feel like we are the ones holding the truth. And that is beautiful. And there are other interpretations that are also holding the truth. So to use that tug and play to find the other perspective, that is so valuable. And we need that in this world. So think about other possible interpretations about the event. If possible, write all of this down. So under stress or a trauma response, a situation creates a thought, which creates an emotion, which creates a mental filter. We analyze it from past situations first, then in the present moment, then we learn to apply the rest of the filters. You won't do this perfectly, and that's perfectly okay. If you enjoyed this video and would like to learn about more related content, it would mean the world if you could subscribe and share it with somebody that might benefit. If you have any questions or comments, please subscribe. If there are any topics you would like to hear about, please let me know. I thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on the next video.